Hi, my name is Cecilia and welcome to my garden. So here's the thing, I started gardening like a lot of millennials did when the pandemic hit, and I've made all the mistakes under the sun you can make and then some. Now, this year was going to be the year like no other because everything seems to finally be going according to my plan, right? I know out the lay of the land, sort of. I've been here this is going to be my third spring. I am not pregnant and I'm not leaving the country for a long period of time after our plant. So everything is in control, supposedly. Anyway, I had two goals for myself. The first was that I wanted to grow brassicas successfully. I've never grown a brassica from seed, and I wanted this to be my most abundant garden. Now, I've done this gardening thing long enough for me to be pretty decent at something, and I'm not even saying that like really cockily. I can grow spinach, I can grow lettuce, I can grow arugula. That stuff, I'm like, if there's nothing I can do, I know that pretty confidently I can do that. So it is end of end of April. It's April 27th, and I have a garden update, and it's not what I thought it would be. Okay, so my garden update is that things aren't going so great. You can quickly see, like, most of my beds they've seen better days. And after some investigating, it's because of myriad of reasons. So I don't want to share this because it feels like I've kind of failed. And of course nobody wants to share failures, but in gardening and in life, I think the biggest lessons are in the failures. So all the way into April, almost May, I think I've been able to deduce where I went wrong or what I could improve on. Number one, it's the health of the soil. Now, if you've been growing things for a while, you know that the health of your plants is directly correlated to the health of your soil. Now, I knew this, and I put fresh compost on all my beds before I laid them to sleep in the fall for the winter. But I went cheap on the compost. I just bought it from Lowe's, and it was the cow manure. And like a little voice in me, my intuition was telling me that I know this year that this soil would be depleted, so I needed to really focus on the health of my soil. Now, this was the only year I did that, but unfortunately it was not enough because my plants, they just for the longest time were stagnant. Second place where I went wrong was I didn't have any coverings on the beds. Now, my first year I did it without, and I had my first harvest, I want to say, in March. So that's what I have in my mind. So it's absolutely crazy that it's almost May and I haven't had a single harvest. Last year my harvest was a little bit later, but I still I enjoyed some greens before I traveled. I left the country with my kids for about 5 months. And yeah, so this year April is almost gone and I've had zero harvest. I've been so impatient, just anxious, excited to really enjoy my first harvest. Because if you grow food for your own, if you grow your own food, you know there's nothing like that for first harvest feeling. So I've really been looking forward to that this year, and it just hasn't happened yet. Okay, I kind of rambled a little bit over there, but yes, so I didn't cover the beds this year. Last year we put netting on them, and that prevented a lot of pests. Well, I don't think they're pests, but the animals. You know what? They are pests. They've been so pesty to my garden. The squirrels and the bunnies. The bunnies, I have no issue with them, but the squirrels have really just had a bone to pick with me and my gardens. So see, they come and just dig, and they've done this in all the beds. I see them, and I know they've probably dug out a lot of my seeds. Yeah, so that's another reason why I don't have a harvest just yet. And the third reason is, again, with that impatience. I've been so excited to get things growing. I've tried to grow a lot of stuff. I haven't either. And in my excitement, I put seedlings in ground when they weren't ready to. So they experienced a lot of transplant shock. So I felt like I've been watching my crops for about a month and a half, and they haven't been making any progress. But in the little research I've done, when you transfer seedlings early, with the transplant shock, a lot of the energy is spent growing roots downwards, and their roots were not ready. Like, obviously hindsight is 2020. Yeah, I see that clearly now, that they were not well established to handle being put in ground. So they've just been staying where they are, growing their seeds in ground, growing their roots down, so you don't see a lot of move in the foliage. With that, I'm going to take you around to show you how sad my beds look. So this entire half is supposed to be lush with all sorts of greens. Yeah, you can see it's very sparse. The potatoes are doing fine because they were dug deep enough for the squirrels to not get them out. But I had a lot more stuff planted here, like a lot more greens, more herbs, and those are barely flourishing. Onions seem to be doing okay, but again, also I planted a lot of greens outside, and yeah, nothing. Here is where my plants experienced a lot of transplant shock, and we haven't seen a lot of progress. And here's the last bed. I really felt discouraged, but you see, I think I needed to learn a thing in number one, being impatient and maybe being a little overconfident and prideful. Mother Nature, in all her wisdom, has really taught me this lesson. Yeah, and this is a lesson from God that I needed to listen to. So, with impatience, nature never hurries, but everything always gets done. And even in that adversity, like, you learn a lot about yourself. So taking each little setback as a moment to go back, hit the drawing board again, and you know, I think it's really helped me improve my skills as a gardener, because you don't learn when everything is always easy. So, what I'm doing to combat this, oh, well, I guess I'll talk a little bit on the confidence as well. This also really humbled my my confidence, cockiness I had, like I said, like there's some things, spinach, like everybody can grow spinach, kale, everybody can grow kale, or so I thought. But I think what makes the gardener skilled is being able to grow in every condition. So conditions have been different for me this year, and I just have to pivot, take a different approach, and not give up. And I'm really proud of this person. I know it might seem small, it's garden beds, but these are skills that really can be applied in, in all aspects of your life, your work environment, if you have kids, how you parent. You just have to always be flexible and roll with life. So what I am doing to tackle these challenges is I'm adding food to my soil. So what does that mean? Fish fertilizer, water soluble fish fertilizer, to give my soil and my plants some much needed nitrogen. And I applied that, I think it's been 4 days now, and already I do believe I'm starting to see I'm starting to see a change. I feel like foliage, the leaves, especially in the brassica beds, are starting to grow. So that's giving me a little bit of hope. Now we are about to travel. What else am I doing before I continue on? No. So I did the fertilizer. That's mainly it. I did the fertilizer. I did have that's the other thing. I dug some beds in ground, and I'm gonna dig up some more. And I just want to compare, because this soil has been relatively untouched, so it should have more nutrients. I've had the beds for 3 years, so I'm gonna compare what grows better. Obviously the beds have a bit of a head start, but so we'll see if that theory works. I had compost growing. Do you grow compost? I had a compost bottle in the back of my beds, and I'm using that to put on top of these beds. I'm gonna dig up a few more also, because I wanted to expand my gardens this year, get more beds, but we're moving. I'm gonna stay here. It's nice and shaded. We are moving this year, so I didn't want to spend the money and get more raised beds. But I have a lot of things I'm growing, so I'm gonna just expand in ground the good old-fashioned cheap way, and then I just have to stay on top of the weeding, which is my least favorite thing to do in the garden. But there you have it. This is end of April. That's the garden update. Things are not going so great, but I have not lost hope, and I will bring you, whoever you are, thank you for watching. I'm gonna bring you along on this journey with me. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. And now I'm gonna try to get some work done in here. There's always stuff to do. I love gardening.